Now welcome back to the 5th CSS tutorial of learning how to code for Pidgin English. For inside this tutorial, we go to discuss selector. So selector na the way wey we dey use target the part of HTML wey we wan style. I mean say if you wan style this H1 now, say na this block with the Usam wey we wan style as e dey like this, we go just target this H1. This H1 wey we target so na selector be that. So selector na the way wey we dey use target exactly wetin we wan style for inside our HTML. If na body we wan style, we go just come here talk say body. We go come inside our CSS, come target the body as the selector, come give am the property of the styling, then boom, e go happen. So na selector dey give us the authority to target exactly wetin we wan style. So wetin we don dey do since before this point in our CSS tutorial be say we dey select the HTML tags wey we go like add style to. We fit continue to dey do our CSS like this o, but e no go tey before we begin to dey get issue with building our website if we continue with that approach. Say we just dey select the tags of HTML wey we wan style. Especially if you wan build complicated website or robust website, e no go tey before we begin to dey have issues at all. For you to understand wetin I dey talk, let's assume say we come get 3 different H1 tags for inside our website. Wetin I mean be say I go just duplicate this H1 tags like this. I go copy this one, come duplicate am say inside this one now I go just talk say CodeNPidgin. This second now I go leave am as Biokudo Samuel. This third one like this I go just give am say my people. Now as I don represent this information like this, I go just save am. I go come go inside my browser, come go reload our website. So if I reload this information like this, you see say we don get CodeNPidgin. I even make mistake here like this, I go correct that one later. You go see say we don get CodeNPidgin, we get Biokudo Samuel, and we get my people here. So you go see say that H1 tag wey we target, e come dey apply to everything here. What if say we wan give this one different style, we wan give this one different style, but everything na still inside H1 tag. But inside that H1 tag where everything dey, so we wan make this one get im own style, we wan make this one get im own style, and we wan make this one sef get im own style. Wetin I go do now be say I go just go back inside our Sublime text. Before I do anything, I go just change this one to P instead of origin, go be Pidgin. Now this H1 tag wey we select here, so e mean say for inside our HTML file, anything wey carry H1 tag, this style go apply to am. Shey you understand? Now to give this one im own special style go come dey difficult for us. So what for do? Well, na where class and ID come in be that to help us out. Instead of selecting the tag now, we go just specify class or ID. So wetin I mean be say inside our HTML tag, we get special information wey we fit add, wey be class and ID. But before I continue, I go like explain wetin class and ID be. So class dey useful for global selection, where ID is useful for local selection. Wetin I mean be say if you wan select multiple things, say for example now you wan make this first H1 and this second H1 get the same style, you go just use the same class for these two. So ID come dey for local selection. Say each tag for inside our HTML go get im own unique selection. So while class dey useful for multiple selection, ID dey useful for individual selection. So na just the difference be that. But no add rule. You fit just use your class dey select everything wey you wan select. You fit use class sef take select individual selection. You fit use ID take select multiple selection sef. E no even matter. No add rule at all whatsoever. But before I continue, make I just add spaces here so that e go make sense. E no go dey complicated for you to understand. So inside here now, I go just talk say class. Remember say the class wey I dey specify now, e dey inside the opening tag of this H1. So I don put my class now. I go just give am one special name. I go just talk say head. Now you always want to make sure say the name wey dey inside this your class, e dey relevant to wetin you wan style here, because say this CodeNPidgin na the header wey dey inside my website. Na why I come put head here. Now how do we target this class? for inside our CSS. Now the way wey dem dey target class for inside CSS be say you go just use period wey be full stop, you go do full stop, come type the name of the class wey you put here, wey you specify inside your HTML. For inside this HTML now, me I don specify head as the name of my own class wey dey very correlating with the information wey dey inside here. So I go just talk say head. Shey you see am? So this head wey I don type so now, na im be the selector of this particular information wey dey here, this h1 tag wey dey here like this. So I don use my dot head. So wetin dis dot dey do be say e dey tell our CSS say na class e be. So I go just continue with the normal structure of CSS. So I go just put opening and closing curly braces. Now I go just copy everything wey dey inside here, come paste am inside here. So you see, so I go just delete this one, come press Ctrl S, come press Ctrl S for inside this our HTML file. So go back into my browser and reload our website. Now shey you see say this information wey dey here, e retain the format, e retain the style, but all these ones like this, dem no get the style again. So wetin I go just do now be say I go come go back inside my Sublime Text. Now this class head wey dey inside here, as you see am, I go just copy am, come paste am inside the remaining ones like this. So you see say I don get this class head inside all of this information wey dey here. Na im be say we no dey target h1 again, we dey target class. Shey you dey see am? I go just save this information like this, go back to my browser, come reload our website. Shey you see? Now why class come dey very useful be say, so I fit just use this class as e dey like this take target another thing. So if I wan target another thing like this, I go just come here, say I wan change this one as e dey like this to another information. I go just talk say, instead of head like this, I go just talk say people. So people here like this, I go just come here again, dot people, right? Opening and closing curly parentheses. Inside here now like this, I go just copy all this information again, come change little thing inside. This one as e dey like this, I go just change the color, say yellow. Make I just put am for block name, say yellow. You see say I don change am. The font size like this, I go just change am to 36, 35. Now the text align, I go just talk say make e go right. If I save this information now, come back inside our HTML file, so save this information, go back to my browser, come reload our website. Shey you see say this information wey dey here like this, my people wey dey here like this, e don different for inside these two information, this CodeNPidgin and Biokudo Samuel wey dey here like this, even though say the three of them dey inside the same h1 tag. Shey you see as e dey like that. So with class, I fit use class take select different things wey be say I no need to go target the HTML tag. Shey you see? But remember say I tell you say class na global selector and ID na local selector. So if you wan target one thing, instead of you using class, you fit just use ID. You dey feel me? Yeah. So I go just come here, comot this one, type ID. Now inside my ID like this, I wan put people again. Shey you see am? I go save this file. Now how do I tell my CSS say na ID be this one o? Instead of this period, you go just talk say hash. You go just put hash here. So the difference between class and ID for CSS na just that class dey get period, ID dey get hash. So I go save this information like this, go back to my browser, come reload our website. You see say nothing change. Shey you see? Because say na still the same value. So if you wan know whether this thing dey work like this, I go just change this one to left. Save this information like this, go back to my browser, come reload our website. Shey you see say e don carry am come left as e dey like this.